So today I'm making a video. It's not part of the Juan's World series. It's just a one-off, and not terribly well made, I'm afraid. I was in a bit of a hurry, and things didn't go exactly as planned. But I'll do the best I can. Today is Pancake Day in England. It's another name for Shrove Tuesday, which is the day before Ash Wednesday, the start of Lent. And habitually in England for, I guess, time immemorial, people have made pancakes to use up the things that they won't be eating during Lent, which may, I guess, involve eggs and butter and whatnot. So Pancake Day comes around each year. It's always a different day, and when I was a little boy, I never knew when it was because we were not raised in a household that went to either a Catholic church or an Anglican church where we would know when Lent was. We were raised Presbyterians. Presbyterians don't celebrate Lent, or observe Lent, I should say. So we don't know from going to church on any particular Sunday whether the next Wednesday is going to be Ash Wednesday or not, because we don't get ashes on Ash Wednesday. And so it was always a bit of a surprise to me, especially growing up in Australia, when we would have dinner and then instead of our normal cake or pudding or whatever we had for dessert, my mother would make pancakes. And she'd say, well, today's Pancake Day. She was raised Church of England, so she knew, but we never knew. It was always a surprise to me. Sometimes in February, sometimes in March. It's in March this year because April, I guess, is Easter. It's late this year anyway. Sometimes Easter is right around my birthday, which is the end of March. Sometimes it's late into April, as it is this year. So I'm making pancakes. And on Pancake Day, I sometimes just make what are traditional pancakes, that is what look like French crepes or pancakes in Argentinian Spanish. That's basically an egg batter, and you saute it off and then add sugar and lemon and yum it down. And I usually do that, but this year I did what I do sometimes, which is that I made both savory pancakes and sweet pancakes. So I'll get started with the savory pancakes. Now that means that you need a filling that is, it could be meat, it could be vegetables, it could be cheese even, but this year I had made on Sunday, I think it was, I'd made a Lancashire hot pot. Lancashire hot pot is lamb and some vegetables in a casserole and topped off with potatoes that have been sliced. So it's sort of like a lamb or cottage pie or shepherd's pie, but cottage pie and shepherd's pie, the topping is mashed potato. With Lancashire hot pot, it's sliced potatoes. So here it is. And I used the filling to be the filling for my savory pancakes. So started off with some leeks. I pretty much always use leeks rather than onions these days. March 1st was St. David's Day, and so I had a lot of leeks because the leek is the symbol of Wales, and March 1st, St. David's Day, is the National Day of Wales. So I had a lot of leeks, so I sauteed some off, and then I added some of the filling from the Lancashire hot pot. So that's going to be the savory part of the pancakes. Now this part, unfortunately, you're going to see most of my arms and not much of the making of the batter for the pancakes. So let me just walk you through it. You need a mixing bowl. You need flour, water, and eggs, and the proportion is 1 heaping tablespoon of flour for every egg that you're going to use. In this case, I was going to use 3 eggs. So 3 heaping tablespoons of flour, and then add just enough water so that when you whisk it around, you've got a very thick flour and water mixture that is like very heavy cream. And then you add 1 egg at a time, whisk, 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 another egg, whisk, 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 another egg, whisk, 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 until you have your batter. And then you let it rest for about 30 minutes. Now, I've often had trouble finding the right pan to make pancakes. I used to have a great one. It was the last thing that survived my first marriage, and it was a really terrific pan for making all kinds of things, but pancakes in particular. But I left it in New Jersey, in fact, with an old girlfriend, and never got it back. So I've always been hunting around. And this year, when I was looking in one of the markets, I found this pan, which is perfect. It's non-stick. You don't really need to have a non-stick, but this was non-stick, and the bottom is about 7 inches across, so it's just the right size. And to make the pancakes, what you need to do is to heat up some butter in the pan. You don't need to if it's a non-stick pan, but the butter adds a little bit of flavor as well. Some butter in the pan, and pour in a very thin amount of batter. You're not trying to make like pancakes as they make for breakfast in the United States, big thick things. These are like French crepes, very thin, and on medium-high heat you cook the bottom until the top part has stopped flowing, so that it's firm on top, and then you flip it over. Now, if you're any good at it, then you can flip it by hand. Just toss the pancake in the air and it lands on the pan. I've never really trusted myself to do that, so I always use a spatula. But you want it to be nicely mottled on both sides, and then in the first case I take my savory mix, lamb and leeks, and put them into the pancakes, roll them up, and yum them down. I had thought about making a sauce, but I rejected the idea because the lamb was very tasty in itself. The leeks were nice and fresh. And there you go. And then on to the traditional Pancake Day pancakes, which are lemon and sugar. And in this instance, I've never done this before, but I have some caramelized brown sugar, which is something that they do in Cambodia. I mean, they have brown sugar everywhere, but this is a particular kind of brown sugar that's especially tasty. So make the pancakes and sprinkle the sugar on them, then squeeze lemon on, roll them up. You can add a little bit more sugar here if you want, but I'm trying to watch my weight, so I just then added another squeeze of lemon, and there you go. So I wish you a happy Pancake Day, and Wandsworld will be back at some point. I'm not sure when. I'm working very diligently on a textbook with my son, and I need all the time I can get. So I'm just taking today off as a kind of little holiday, partly because he's behind in his editing, so I've got a little bit of time. But I will see you probably end of April, beginning of May. I'll see you for Juan's World again. So have a wonderful day.